All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you happen to be listening. Good evening for those of you joining us live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I think we are coming at you a little later, and we don't have the normal bells and whistles at the beginning because Jimmy is not here. We are 3-box podcast this evening, not a 4-box podcast. Jimmy Jamrisco will still be the executive producer of this podcast. I, Rod Morgan, will be the host of this podcast, but I am serving as semi-producer during this live show. So those of you who check this out later on YouTube or happen to be watching live, you may witness something crazy. Chris King, the old man, is here. What are the chances that I screw something up here trying to fill in for Jimmy and host at the same time?
100%.
All right, there we go. I love the confidence. I appreciate that.
As always, you are professional. What are you talking about?
Semi-professional. You know that. Semi-professional is the line I like to use. Our man who is a semi-professional handicapper himself. He crunches the numbers for us. He makes the plays. He is our guy, Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
What's up, boys? Went 1-1 against the spread last week. Hit on Denver plus 3.5 at Philly. How about Sean Payton? The balls of a burglar there, going for 2 with about 7 minutes to go and getting it. Love the aggression there. But then I thought the Bengals would show up with some pride. They did not. That game was not as close as what the final score was. So 1-1 ATS there. Let's get it back going here. I feel good about a possible 2-0 week this week. So let's go.
Your Bengals pick was so bad, Williams, they traded for Joe Flacco. That's how bad your Bengals pick was.
Yes, it was.
You know what we need in here? What we need, what's going to turn us around? Joe Flacco. Let's go.
Oh, I hope he goes into Green Bay and wins.
That would be awesome. That would be 2 wins for Flacco versus Green Bay in a matter of a month. And, the Bengals just decided to go Wizardy Wacko Joe Flacco. Let's go. And then Cleveland doesn't even know if Shedeur Sanders is the backup yet. What is going on in Ohio?
Lots of weirdness happening in Ohio. Lots of weirdness. Where things are weird, but good weird. Let's start there. Our Indianapolis Colts, yours, mine, everyone's Indianapolis Colts. I was in attendance like a true fan. I've been on board from the beginning of the season. I did not do anything as foolish as trade the Colts for another team up north. There's no audio evidence of any such maneuver pulled by a podcast host. I've been a true blue Colts fan my whole life, as evidenced by the fact that I'm sitting there next to our guy, friend of the podcast, Dax Storm. Shout out to Dax. Watching the Colts absolutely lay waste to the Raiders, Chris. They laid waste to the Raiders. I kind of like Pete Carroll, but it looks like a disaster in Las Vegas, and Indy keeps it rolling.
Yeah, this is a dangerous team, right? We showed up, and I don't think you can just chalk this up to being a weak opponent. Like, we put it down on Las Vegas. I almost said Oakland. That's how old I am. This Colts team is legit, and to be honest, they may be the second best team in the AFC.
Williams, you told us last week, you said you were all in on this Colts team. You said that you were even bolstered by that loss to the Rams. What do you think of this game against the Raiders?
Man, just complete domination from the Colts again. And just they continue to be super consistent, which we did not think was going to be the case at the beginning of the year. We thought there was going to be a whole bunch of variance with this Colts team. But, man, they are fun to watch. And I tell you what, man, who would have guessed that the last 5 weeks of the year, the Colts versus the Jags playing 2 different times are going to be huge, huge games. I love what Jacksonville's doing with that whole regime there. Gladstone coming in from the Rams, Cohen coming in from Tampa, and they've got the number 1 defense forcing turnovers. So and then we love what Steichen brings with the play caller as the Colts. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of those games, Colts and Jags, could be flexed into Sunday Night Football. Who would have guessed that at the beginning of the year?
Williams, we were simpatico there. Normally we make jokes about how sell me all the time and you got your own script, but I was literally about to say that there's no chance that either of those games were scheduled to be a big time primetime window, and now they might have to be. So look at you, Williams. All right, the Bears did not play. I still am rooting for the Bears. I still will own what I said at the beginning of the year. There was definitely some sarcasm dripping from my Colts soliloquy there, but once again, shout out to Dak Storm. I was in the building. Lucas Oil Stadium continues to be a great live viewing experience for a football game. It's easy to get to the restrooms. It's easy to grab something to drink. It's a cool stadium. It absolutely works. The Colts put on a great thing with all their audio video stuff and what goes on before the game, beating the anvil, the whole 9 yards. Top-notch organization down there. I couldn't spot from my seats though, Chris. I couldn't spot Carly Ursay Gordon. I was looking the whole time to try to find out what she was writing down on her notepad, but I couldn't see her.
Hey, you got to get some backseat or background access, behind the scenes access to that. I don't think she's going to be in a situation where us Joe Schmoes, the seats that we can afford, are going to be able to catch her.
That's so true. But there's not a bad seat in that stadium, so it was cool to be there. Wonderful there. But Williams, a big story was a lot of wild plays happening in a particular football game. And I'm just going to we're going to go to you for Are You Serious?
Yeah, my Are You Serious is offense coordinator Drew Petzing of the Arizona Cardinals. Let me try to set the stage real quick here for the people that did not get this game last week. Zona's up 21-6. Their third string running back breaks a 71-yard run. The problem, though, is that he needed to run 72 yards through the end zone for his team to get the actual touchdown and the 7 points. He starts slowing down at like the 20-yard line, by the way, rolls the ball out at the 1, and it goes in the end zone for a touchback. So I'm not blaming Drew Pensig for that. We'll get to Drew Pensig in due time here. But if Amari DiMercato hangs onto the ball, the running back for Zona, it's 28-6 to start the fourth quarter. Now, in the last 25 years, teams that were up by 22 points in the fourth quarter, Zona goes up by 22 points there if he just hangs onto the ball. Those teams were 1,276 and 1. So if you had Zona there in Survivor, you weren't losing the game if DiMercato just crosses the goal line. Instead, 1 quarter later, and you were out of Survivor. Just absolutely brutal there. There's a high stakes Survivor in Vegas called the Grandissimo. The buy-in is $100,000. 16 entries had Arizona. How would you like to lose $100,000 on that game? Good Lord. But then, Tyler, on the next drive, after Tennessee cuts it to 9, he's not ready for the direct shotgun snap. It hits off his helmet, and the next thing you know, he's in the concussion protocol off a botched shotgun snap that goes doink. It goes doink right off his helmet. To quote the great Vince Lombardi, what in the Sam hell is going on out here? But wait, as if this game wasn't drunk enough, you had Cam Ward throw a pick on the next Titans drive. The Zona defender dives, picks it off, tumbles over, and when he tries to get up, then he fumbles the ball. There's 3 Arizona Cardinals players by the football. None of them can corral it. One of them bats it backwards into the Titans end zone where, stop me if you heard this, Tyler Lockett jumps on it for a touchdown. Who even knew Tyler Lockett was in the league? Guys, there's a non-zero chance that's Tyler Lockett's last touchdown of his career there. But here's where we get to Petzing. Finally, this game was just absolutely drunk. Your offense versus the Tennessee Titans, who many think are the worst team in football, have scored 0 points since the 8-minute mark in the second quarter. You need 1 first down to end the game. What do? Well, Drew Pensing runs it for 1 yard on first down. He runs it for 1 yard on second down. And now it's 3rd and 8 with 2:13 left. You're only up by 2. If you give the ball back to your opponent, they have a 70% success rate at attempting a field goal for the win. So you got to draw up a good pass play here because the 2-minute warning is only 13 seconds away, and Tennessee is going to get that timeout regardless if it's a run or a pass. What does Drew Pensing draw up? What does he come up with after the timeout? A run to Amari DiMercato, the guy who dropped the touchdown at the 1 yard line. A run, and they run him right up the middle. You get stuffed. You have to punt. The Titans end up kicking a game-winning field goal, and Arizona loses by 1. Drew Pensing, are you serious?
I can't wait to use this in a sentence in the future. This game was so drunk. Guess what happens next? Listen, we may have to do a real in-depth investigation into former Jets quarterbacks because it's apparent that there are all types of former Jets quarterbacks that have issues with alcohol. I can think of 3 right off the top of my head: Joe Namath, Brett Favre, and now Mark Sanchez.
I mean, it might have been more than alcohol. Who knows? Oh, did we lose Rod?
Yeah, we lost Rod. What were you going to say, Williams?
I was gonna say, man, it might have been more than alcohol. I can't believe that he kept going after the pepper spray, and so it's like, holy cow, was he like on some PCP? Like, what in the world?
Right? I mean, unless he's been sprayed before and can deal with it, I don't know of anybody that can keep on fighting through it.
Oh man, that was a wild story. When you first saw it, you were like, "What in the world happened to Mark Sanchez?" And then you start finding out that he was the attacker, and you're like, "What in the world's going on with Mark Sanchez?"
Right, that was a crazy night because we were in that text thread and we were calling it out as it happened, and then we were all shocked. We were like, "Oh, crap! They just arrested him in the hospital."
Oh
All right.
man,
While we're waiting for Rod, we'll do my Leatherhead of the week,
yeah,
and then we'll see where we're at. All right, so I got a couple of. I haven't done this yet, but I've got a couple quarterbacks I want to give shout outs to. All right.
no, okay,
Right? Trevor Lawrence, shout out for literally that last play. I don't care who you are. I'm not a Jags fan, but that dude did not give up. He fell, got up, fell again, got up, and got into the end zone to win his team. Right? So like, I gotta give him his props there. And then I gotta give an honor mention to Baker and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. This is a team, and they're led by Baker, that just does not give up. All 4 of their wins on game-winning drives late in the fourth quarter, right? That's insane. You got to give that. That's some heavy-duty workload. I kind of did not want to give them the award this week because I'm afraid it's a jinx. So I'm going to give my Leatherhead of the Week award to 2 teammates for the Los Angeles Rams, Jared Verse and Brian Young. All right, I know they didn't get this win against the 49ers, all right? But these 2 guys dominated the defensive line and stuffed that San Francisco run game. I think they had 57 yards total, maybe a little bit more than that, but they were averaging only getting about 2 yards per carry. San Francisco was that whole game. These two guys anchor a defense that has the most stuffs in the NFL through 5 weeks, and they each have 11. So Jared Verse, Byron Young, Leatherhead of the Week.
Yeah, I was surprised with the Rams' pass coverage that game. They were playing so far off, and Mac Jones was just dealing them up, man, just cutting them up with the short passes. It was a great game plan by Shanahan there. That was super surprising. My last Survivor entry that I was still alive in, I had the Rams, so that was super disappointing. But yeah, verse has been awesome all year. The Trevor Lawrence thing, dude, that looked like a baby deer crossing the end zone. Like he's just like he was fumbling, stumbling, tumbling, rumbling into the end zone. Uh, yeah, that was wild. And then Baker's just man, just don't give that guy a chance at the end of the games, man. He's just lethal at end of games. So awesome, awesome Leatherhead teamwork there from Lawrence, Baker, and Inverse.
Yeah, the Bucks have impressed me more. Like I think I was higher on them than maybe some of you guys were in that division, but they got whatever devil magic the Chiefs had last year, I think. So go Bucks. Let me ask you this, since we're talking about quarterbacks. Do you think as of right now you're looking at guys that were either written off or thought were bust that are essentially leading some MVP odds right now? Do you think that guys like Baker, Jones, or Darnold have an opportunity to get the MVP this year?
It's wild that and some of my the handicapping breakdown is it goes into some in depth with Baker and Darnold, and Dan. I mean, what's historically it says that you got to get either a first or second seed out of the AFC or NFC for your quarterback to win the MVP. So if that's the case, Tampa Bay is looking all right for that, and Indianapolis is looking all right for that. And if we have, like Lamar injured this year and the Ravens lose like 6 or 7 games, and we've already got the Chiefs having 3 losses with Mahomes, and we know that they have a really tough record. And
Burrow's out.
Yeah, and Burrow's out. Josh Allen is still right there. So really, these guys are just chasing Josh Allen. But you can even throw Goff into there because for how good Detroit looks. I mean, they probably wouldn't give it to Goff, but I mean, Detroit has such a tough schedule that you have to look at them. So I think all these guys are actually live to at least finish like top 2 or 3 in the MVP voting, which is, if you would ask that when Baker and Sam Darnold were both on the Carolina Panthers, both not starting a few years ago, you would have said you're crazy. But it's been a wild year.
What was Baker's? Because people thought Baker was going to have a regression. What was his odds at the beginning of the year for MVP? Do you even have an idea?
I don't have it written down in front of me, but I'm going to guess it was probably like 20 or 25 to 1. Like ever since Lamar won in 19, where I was fortunate enough to be on them, like they have just sports books have just depleted that MVP market. Like they just do not want any liability on these long shots. And so, man, if they think that there's going to be a good team that finish like top 2 or 3 in their conference, which Tampa Bay was favored to win their division, so they were right up there. But they just, man, you're just not going to find like 60, 70, 80 to 1s anymore. But right now, like one guy who was like, if you want to throw out like a long shot MVP, would actually be Drake May, because 1, he's never done it before, obviously, because he's only in his 2nd year. But 2 is that the Patriots have a ridiculously easy schedule if you look at their schedule the rest of the way, and he already beat Josh Allen in Buffalo. So, but yeah, these sports books, man, they're really making it tough to find long shot MVP odds. You can find other, like rookie of the year or defense rookie of the year. Those markets are still a little softer, but man, the MVP is really tough to find a long shot now.
Rod, do you think Jones has a chance at MVP since you're now a Colts fan again?
I was always a Colts fan, all right, but I appreciate you keeping the bid up. It's always good for entertainment, but maybe, right, if the Colts somehow get a 1 or 2 seed in the AFC and Mahomes continues to have a bit of a down year, right, Lamar doesn't go crazy and bring the Ravens back. I think it's going to be tough to beat Josh Allen because like we're just such a narrative driven, a sports awards culture these days with this stuff. But I'd say if he keeps this up, he's definitely going to be getting a hell of a lot more votes than any of us thought would be reasonably possible for Daniel Jones. That much I will say.
Right. All right. Since you're back, I'm gonna catch you up. We just did a little bit. We did my
Okay.
Leatherhead. All right. And of course, my Leatherhead was 2 defensive linemen because I
Sure.
make rules. And it was the Rams, Jared Verse and Byron Young. I'm sure you're very
Nice.
familiar
Listen, Jared Verse is a heck of a ball player, and Brian Young is he related to Bryant Young? Are they from the similar family tree? Is it
No.
like a bloodline situation?
They could be cousins. I don't know, Rod. But my honorable mentions were Trevor Lawrence for that last play, not giving up, and then I gave another shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker, which got us into.
Well, I was going to say, Baker certainly has a shot at that. That's where you guys went. All right, so we've gotten our Leatherheads out of the way. Face heel has been done. Are You Serious has been done. Let's go to Williams' picks against the spread. Couple good games, Williams. I was surprised to see the 2 you picked for the slate this week.
Yeah, and right on brand here, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers plus 3.5, minus 130 on ESPN Bet. And before we even get into it, what a masterclass that was by the greatest, the chosen one, Kyle Shanahan on Thursday night, winning with that MASH unit. The 7 of his top guys all injured out in that game, and he still beats McVay. But yeah, the Bucs are 4-1, okay? Guess how many times they've covered this number this year? 0. They have 0 wins by more than 3 points. And now we get to take the Niners plus 3.5 off of long rest and one of the best play callers in the league against them. Sign me up. Bucs are next to last at covering running backs out of the backfield. Let me tell you about Run CMC stats amongst running backs when it comes to production as a receiver. Receiving grade first, targets first, receptions first, receiving yards first, missed tackles forced first, receptions for first downs first. By the way, McCaffrey has 18 first downs as a pass catcher from the running back position. The next closest is 9. He is doubling up the next closest running back, and it's only week 5. That is ridiculous. Plus, this is a John Lynch revenge game. GM of the Niners, who won a Super Bowl with the Bucs back in 2002. You know he's been talking with the players, giving them a little extra motivation. He wants this game bad. And in order to win by margin for the Bucs, you're going to have to get more than the Baker magic on the last drive. Baker still has, I know we just talked about Baker being in the MVP discussion, and he is, but he still has turnover regression coming at some point this year. Like, he's been great, but he's also been getting away with some throws. How about this? Both of these teams have been lucky. Both of these teams have injuries. Mac Jones is top 5 in success rate. He's taking way less sacks. The Bucs are beat up on the O-line. They're banged up at wide receiver. They're banged up at running back, banged up at secondary. The Bucs have been living off of huge explosion plays, which isn't the most consistent, reliable formula to rely on. The Niners are good versus the run. They play a lot of zone. They limit explosive plays. They're going to make the Bucs work their way down the field. And how about this? DVOA-wise, Tampa Bay is 18th. San Francisco is 16th. So to my point, both of these teams are 4-1. They've been pretty lucky to have 4-1 records. Give me the points plus 3.5 here for the Niners.
I'm not excited that you picked against my guy Baker. Baker should win the MVP because of his play, and he should also win the MVP because they're exciting football games. The Bucs come from behind and win at the end every time, right? You're just like, it's so crazy that a guy that got run out of Cleveland, run out of Carolina, gets one game for McVay out in Los Angeles, ends up at Tampa Bay, and now he's one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league. It's absolutely amazing for Baker. But I want to point out Emeka Egbuka here, or Emeka Egbuka, or something that's Rob Gronkowski called him last week on the pregame show. Just terrible work out of our guy Gronk there, who's just allowed to just live his life like a party and never be held accountable for anything. But he slips all the way down into the 20s in the draft, Mr. Williams. And Jacksonville, who you're about to talk to us about, taking on the Seahawks, trades away extra draft capital to move up to get Travis Hunter, and we've not seen much of an impact out of him. It's just absolutely crazy, the wide receiver game in the NFL.
Yeah, Emeka Ibuka has as many deep catches, 8 in 5 weeks for Tampa that he had in 2 years at Ohio State. They did not use him down the field at Ohio State. When he came out in the draft, they said that he's a fantastic route runner close to the line of scrimmage, but nobody saw this coming. He is an absolute threat down the field, and when Godwin didn't start the year, he started on IR, and then Evans goes down. Like if they don't have Ibuka, they're not 4-1 this year, and that's a crazy testament of how good this rookie wide
On a
receiver
team
is.
with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you know what I mean? And Bucky Irving. Like, this guy has absolutely been stepping up for him. And Chris, I hate giving Ohio State credit, but what Williams said right there just speaks to the receiving depth and talent that's been at the Ohio State University. If they don't even use Emeka Ibuka like that, and it's because they got guys who are, still lighting up the NFL as we speak.
I think when it comes to Ohio State, that was probably more of it due to their quarterbacks not being able
That's
to
fair.
throw like Baker does. All right, because that's the thing too. Baker can sling that ball down the field, right? And you get a fast guy like this, or a guy that's big that can get over the top and make those good catches. Baker's going to toss it up there. That
Yeah, I think it's that catch radius with Ibuka, it seems to be, right? It seems to be crisp routes, catch radius. He doesn't seem to have blazing speed, but he seems to be just fast enough. But another great wide receiver so far this year has been Jackson Smith and Jigba out there in Seattle. Gets quite a big target share from Sam Darnold and the boys. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this game here, Williams, because you've been a Liam Cohen guy in the past. You've been a Mike McDonald guy in the past. This is a matchup of those two teams here. What do you got?
Yeah, and also JSN, another Ohio State product. But yeah, I'm going all NFC West this week. I'm going Seattle plus 1.5. You can find that on FanDuel minus 120. This game is all over the place. On DK, the juice is up to minus 125. So make sure you grab this one on FanDuel. The Seahawks have actually flipped to the favorite on ESPN Bet minus 1.5, and they're minus 1 at even money on Caesars.
Hold on, before you get too much further there. Chris has a Star Wars hoodie on, and it sounded... Did anybody else just hear that it sounded like Darth Vader was about to enter the podcast? Was I hearing things, or did that happen a second ago?
That might have been my phone.
Okay, all right. I was like, wait a minute. And then, like, everybody just seemed to be breezing past it, and I was like, wait a minute. Am I just imagining that in my head because of Chris's hoodie? All right, I apologize, Mr. Williams.
But yeah, if you didn't hear that, I'll take Seattle plus 1.5 on FanDuel. I feel like the Jags turnover regression is going to hit soon. I don't think they can keep up this pace. Don't think the 99-yard pick sixes are sustainable, or even the +4 in the turnover department. They lead the league by a wide margin in EPA, expected points added off of turnovers. So the Jags getting a little dinged up here. Brenton Strange, the underrated tight end, is on the IR now. So he's out for this game. And there's a chance that Seattle gets big defensive tackle DeMarcus Lawrence back. I don't think that the Jags are going to be able to run against the Seahawks front seven. And would you guys believe this? Statistically speaking, Sam Darnold, yes, that same Sam Darnold that was seeing ghosts in a MetLife turf on a Monday night a handful of years ago after throwing his third or fourth pick, I can't remember. That same Sam Darnold is the best passer over the middle of the field through 5 weeks. He's number 1 in success rate for all throws. He's number 1 in adjusted EPA per play. And he's also been the best quarterback in the league versus zone. The Jags run a ton of zone coverages. And it's very possible that edge rusher Trayvon Walker is out for this game for the Jags. He's still dealing with swelling on that wrist after his surgery a couple weeks ago. And versus the Chiefs, when he wasn't out there on Monday Night Football, Jacksonville pressure rate fell off a cliff down to 23.9%, a season low by a wide margin for them. And Seattle's coming off a late heartbreaker of a loss. Jacksonville coming off a come from behind, back and forth late win over Mahomes and the Chiefs. Could be a letdown spot for the Jags here. And how about this? We have this notion that Seattle has been awesome at home forever, right? With the Legion of Boom back a decade ago, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Byron Maxwell, with Russ on the other side, throwing moon balls to Doug Baldwin and Golden Tate for touchdowns. And Pete Carroll's cartoon head was running down the sidelines, chewing 17 pieces of gum faster than you've never seen anyone chew gum in their life. We remember those teams, right? But this version of the Seahawks is not them. Did you guys know Seattle's home record is 2-8 in their last 10 games up in the Pacific Northwest. However, their last 8 road games, the Seahawks are 8-0. These guys are road warriors here. You get Jacksonville off short rest, off a huge emotional win. Give me Seattle getting points plus 1.5 on FanDuel.
Absolutely love it. That is some real good breakdown there. Mr. Williams, I just have one question to you about Liam Cohen. Did you know he was such a wannabe tough guy? Like, did you know that he was just want to be picking fights with everybody, like getting all chesty when he would become a head coach?
And the one guy you don't want to pick a fight with, I'm going to guess, is
Right?
Robert Saleh, who could just like pick up a refrigerator and throw it across the field like Uncle Rico. Yeah, I mean that takes some stones.
Also,
there.
Robert Sala's got like 9 kids at home, man. Like that guy's completely used to dealing with people coming at him from all ways and all sides, right? Like you're not going to trick Robert Saleh. You're not sneaking up on him whatsoever. That guy's seen it all before. All right, we had huge doings in the Wins League last week. We had big moves being made. Old man, Chris, you got 21 wins out of that squad of yours. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great because I got, almost all the teams on there are teams I want to root for. So this has been fantastic.
Williams, you and I tied at 20. How bummed out are you that you're tied with somebody and that you're in second place? Does it almost feel like third?
Off to a slower start than last year, but I will say after this week, you two plus Jimmy will only have had one team on a bye. I will have had 3 teams on a bye, so I feel like I could possibly be catching up after this week. But yeah, rough week for me. The last week I only had 3 wins, so my team's got to step it back up here. And I feel like every week I have 2 of my teams playing against each other, and it happens again this week with the Ravens and the Rams. So, but I guess I can't complain too much because Chris had that and they ended up with a tie, which is just like terrible.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Chris will win that one always. But you know the one thing that all 3 of us have in common, we're not as bad as Jimmy, who only has 16 wins out of his squad, bringing up the rear in the Wins League. He likes to talk all that mess over the NBA podcast, Chris, about his Wins League team, but doesn't go as well for him in the NFL side, does it?
No, Jimmy does have a track record when it comes to NFL. And it's not good, people.
That's true.
All right, I love the guy, but I mean, we've seen what he's done to the Chargers. We've seen what he's done to numerous teams over the years. You don't want him rooting for your team in the NFL.
You certainly do not. That is wise words coming from the old man right there. They say respect your elders, and Chris just showed you right there. You want to fade Jimmy when it comes to NFL picks. You want to track the old man when it comes to Survivor picks. He is currently still alive after suffering the first death. Chris, you have not died since. I guess being the first zombie has made you further ready for this zombie apocalypse we now live in Survivor.
I was the first, and I would be the last.
Look at you. All right, well, what do you got this week then, Mr. I'm going to be the last?
Well, I had a lot of fun being able to root for one of my teams, the Lions, last week, so I'm going to do it again this week, but I'm going to take the Cowboys against the Carolina. And I am even nervous about this, Rod, because it seems like the entire West Coast is traveling east this week. You have the Cardinals, the Cowboys, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Chargers, and the 49ers all traveling to the East Coast, all right? Some of these teams are going to lose.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that you didn't get more of those West Coast feels. You love that time zone stuff. You love the body clock. You're always playing to that when it comes to this podcast.
I'm nervous. I am nervous that Seattle's going to lose this game. As much as I want Seattle to win, and they should.
Yeah, we definitely would like the Jags to take a loss. I am with you there. Williams, I will give you a second to collect your thoughts after foolishly last week picking a game that was going on while we were recording. You and Jimmy both were like, no, really, we want everybody to know that we let everybody know before the game that we picked the Rams, and then it didn't even matter. What do you have to say for yourself?
Terrible. I've been way off the board with these picks. I'm not doing that this week. I'm taking the low hanging fruit. I'm going to go with the Packers in week 6. And Chris, you're not scared about the Rico Dowdle revenge game?
Rico was huge for me last week.
I've seen
Huge.
Rico play. I know I know he has that in him. What I also know is he doesn't have that in him 2 weeks in a row.
Probably right.
All right, so we're down to me, and I always say if something is working, stick with it. And I last week decided that I was going to pick the ugly games, the games that nobody in their right mind would pick for Survivor. Last week I picked the Saints to get their first victory of the year, beat the Giants team that'd be flying in high after their first victory. I'll be darned if I wasn't right there. I'm going to a game where a team could get their first victory. No, actually, Tennessee did get a victory, even though they didn't deserve it. But I'm going to Tennessee, Oakland. All right. And here's what I'm going to do. I don't believe that anybody on the Tennessee Titans cares about Brian Callahan. In fact, I would venture to say that most of the players on the Tennessee Titans do not like Brian Callahan, borderline actively dislike Brian Callahan. So they could care less about trying to rally around the troops, make him look better. They figure he's going to get fired in a couple of weeks. I think everybody's in self-preservation mode in Tennessee. Pete Carroll, however, different story. Everything you hear about Pete Carroll, nice guy, energy, people like him. Football may be passing him by a little bit, but I believe that there's still a couple of intestinal fortitude performances in that Raiders team to fire up and try to make Pete not look like that much of a joke. So I think those guys are all going to know if we lose to Tennessee, people are really going to be laughing at us. Give me Oakland over Tennessee as my Survivor pick this week.
I like
Just
how you're
win,
still calling
baby.
him Oakland.
Yeah, I wanted to support you, Chris, right? That's what I do is I support the elderly. I get AARP magazine, even though you're not supposed to get that until you're technically of age. I get that sent to the house.
The listeners are very aware of how much you support me over the years. That's for sure.
I go to our bingo hall every Wednesday.
Who's Jimmy taking?
Actually, I forgot to ask Jimmy a Survivor pick, so we could just give him a Survivor pick if we wanted to.
And I believe we should start a new. We need to start a new rule that if you're not here and haven't supplied the new Survivor pick, well then you get the Jets.
And then you get
And that's who you get.
the Jets. I was gonna say we could give Jimmy his favorite team, the Bears. Say that the Bears are gonna show up and beat the Commanders on Monday night. We could do that.
Hey, massive revenge game from the Hail Mary from last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Woo,
Let's do that. Let's give Jimmy the Bears. That's more fun than sticking him with the Jets, Chris.
Jimmy, Jets. I thought it
All right. Listen, we all know that you lean mean, and that's fine. It helps for entertainment on the show, and we appreciate that. You know what else we appreciate around here? Our football handicapper, Josh Williams. Josh, thank you so very much for all of your expertise this week, my man. We will talk to you next week. And Chris, we don't have Jimmy here, but we're going to talk wrestling anyway. Stick around.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, Net.
Hello, and welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. I am not Jimmy Jamriska. I am Rod Morgan, but Chris King is here with me. Chris, hello.
What is up, Rod? And you should be 100% behind me because your guy's girl also called for some investigation or getting new refs or improving the referees in WWE. Are you behind this now?
See, somehow I knew that you were going to be incredibly excited about the fact that Becky Lynch has turned her character towards ire at the referees. So, listen, I made my stance known about the fact that I was not happy with Daphne LaShawn. We did not see Daphne LaShawn in a big-time TV match after that last bungle on SmackDown, so perhaps she had herself a bit of a talking to. So maybe, Chris, maybe the fact that a referee has been pulled after a mistake means we're this much closer to what you want.
Yeah, I need some concrete rules. I need some sort of like I don't want to throw the referees under the bus too. I talked about it before. There needs to be a unionization of the referees so there can be a collective bargaining agreement. And we need instant replay. But let's get beyond that, all right? Because I'm pretty sure we have a PLE coming up.
We certainly do.
Isn't
We
that
certainly do. But
pretty sure.
I had one question I wanted to ask non-PLE related before we get there. Have you enjoyed your Booker T experience on commentary here in the last couple of weeks. They've been doing a little bit of a different rotation around. We've had the angle where Corey Graves got beat down by Brock Lesnar. Have you enjoyed your Booker T experience?
I mean, I haven't unliked it. Like, he hasn't done anything that would make me think worse of him. I just think I've liked some other people better. That's about what I'm going to do. So, like, with the people that have filled that Pat McAfee shoes, I think I'd go with a couple different people before I'd go to Booker T.
What I think I'd say about Booker is I think Booker seems committed to a shtick more than he seems committed to actually trying to call the match, right? Booker is really, really concerned with getting his little Bookerisms in there, right? His little colloquialisms.
Well, he does that at NXT,
Yeah.
right? That's where he got bumped up from. Wasn't he the weekly guy at
For
NXT?
sure. Yep. And so I just think that, like, that makes him different, right? I think he thinks to himself, like, you know, Jesse the Body and Jerry the King Lawler, two of the best to ever do it, right? They had a lot of shtick, but I don't know that shtick works as well in modern day wrestling as it did in the past. So I'm with you. Booker T hasn't actively taken away from my enjoyment of wrestling, but I think I prefer a less shticky way of doing commentary. But you're right, Chris. We are in Australia, Perth to be exact. The PLE will be taking place at 8 a.m. Eastern here in the States. That's the time all of us want to be watching wrestling. But nevertheless, we will press on.
Well, at least it'll be over before the IU.
There you go. It all relates back to IU with you. Somehow I forgot about that. But we will press on. We will pick this anyways. I think the card may end up going this way, Chris. So this is the way that we're going to put them out there. I think the first match will be Roman versus Bronson in an Australian rules street fight. My question before I ask you who's going to win, what exactly are the rules in an Australian street fight? What makes it any different than any other street fight we've ever seen?
Well, I don't know how the WWE runs it, Rod, because they make up their own rules, as you guys have told me so many times. But when I was there, like in Perth, especially, a street fight is when you have to have a Foster's in each hand and they tape them up, and so you can't drop them, and that's what you're fighting with. Those are your boxing gloves, and that's the Australian street fight.
Nice.
Hopefully, the WWE does the same thing because I would love to watch it. But
that would be kind of like the Australian Donnybrook match there with Foster's and didgeridoos and boomerangs. Let's go. I hope all of those things are used as weapons.
Right, instead of Guinness and
Yeah,
shillelaghs.
I think that would be absolutely wonderful. How about, who do you think's going to win this match, Chris? Do you think Roman, who's basically protected and like almost never loses, is going to somehow lose to Bronson Reed here?
So I can see, this is going to be tough because I can see two different things happening, and I think they're equally plausible. Right, the first one would be, okay, where's the other Braun at? He's going to come out, interfere, schmaz. It's a street fight, so anything goes. So, and then Roman's going to get beat down. But I can also see, and then that means Bronson Reed wins. So I could also see that happening, and then Jay coming out, trying to get involved, and maybe end up doing something where it helps Roman win, but cost him his match later, or something to that effect. I don't know. I see Jay doing something. I know there's going to be something bloodline related because this is apparently the best storyline they've been working over years and it's long term. But so that tells me I'm going to see all the bloodline schmozzing it up, and we'll see Roman win eventually. It's a PLE. Roman's going to win. He's not going to lose that.
I tend to agree with you there. Let me throw a third scenario at you. What if a Jimmy Uso makes his way out to the ring and in his attempt to toe the line, somewhat be in the middle, costs Roman the match? Do you think that furthers the bloodline story any more than just Jay coming out for some regular schmozzery?
I mean, maybe. I mean, he did have that whole spiel about he's more like Roman now. Like Roman's telling Jimmy, like, "Hey, Jay's now more like me than he is like you." But to me, that means Jimmy's not going to be the one that's going to go out there and help Roman. Uh, I don't know. All right, listen. You're not gonna get much from me, and Jimmy hates it, but like that's the truth because I don't. I mean, I think Stephanie Vakir can wrestle really well, right? I don't deny that. I don't think Tiffany can. All right, I'm done with Tiffany time pretty much anyway. So I don't, and like I don't. They don't give any kind of meaning behind this crown jewel either. So why should I care about it? They're not going to lose their belt, right? It's not a belt unification. It's not anything. It's not okay. You won, so you get to pick which belt you want to take home or anything like that. Even it's just a crown jewel, which we'll never see again until the next crown jewel at some other country. Yeah, they remind us. I don't know. I don't know, Rod. I can't give you an answer, right? This is definitely something that we miss Jimmy for. But I I think that one thing is we have said on this podcast, so we know other people have been saying it, where there is an issue with some of these top tier female wrestlers that they're pushing that can't wrestle wrestle safely or well in the ring. But here is a girl, Stephanie Vakiri, that can, right? She has proven that all over the world, and we have seen it in the ring here. So why not? To me, let's get her into the ring with someone like an Io Sky or a Becky Lynch, right? And have some real serious matches. Do we know when she's coming back? Styles. Yep, give me Styles. I bet you he's big in Australia. Yeah. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm not rooting for John Cena. All right. You know, I have expressed my feelings on that whole debacle that they did with his story, right? I was 100% behind him being heel and ruining wrestling. Like, yeah, let me see it. But now it's just something I'm not that interested in. So give me Styles. Let me see him beat him up. And I've been watching Peacemaker. Maybe he deserves it. Burrow just keeps seeing him on TV on a weekly basis. I mean, that's you don't need to put a belt on him. We talk about this. There's some people you don't need a belt on for them to still sell their merch, get their pops. So, and I think Styles is that one. We have kind of seen maybe a little bit of a lull with him though too, because that whole deal with him and Dragon Lee the other night, it didn't get much fan interest at all. Io and Rhea. I mean, I don't see any way, shape, or form that they lose this match, right? I even if someone gets sprayed with Asuka's magical mist, right? I still don't see Io and Rhea lose it. It depends on who gets pinned by who, right? If it's Io pinning Kyrie, then there's still a lot of heat then between Asuka and Rhea, Asuka and Io. I think it depends on who gets pinned. I think this has a real chance, right? I think this is a match that has 4 solid wrestlers that can put on a show, right? I definitely think Asuka's back completely from her injury. Rhea, we know what she can do. We know what Io and Kyrie can do flying through the air, so I think it can be a real exciting, awesome match. Yeah. No, you have to be a true fan, Rod. You got to back up your boy, just like I do for Drew and LA Knight. All right, you got to back them up. Yep. Someone starts talking crap, you got to put Dax in his place. Be like, son, listen. That's the visionary, the revolutionary. Dax is gentler than you as well. I mean, if he is against CM Punk, then he can come on right now. But if he needs to should turn that around and shape up, so like he can't be on Punk's side. You know, he does look similar to Drew. He's got the same hairstyle as Drew. Shocking. Yeah, let's get going. It doesn't mean anything, Rod, and that's why Seth Rollins will walk away from it if you want my WWE answer. But as a fan, I also pick Seth Rollins to win this match because he has to, Rod. He told us. He told Paul. He told the wise man, I can't lose. I cannot lose. I have to win this. And that's what's going to happen. You saw the determination on his face. If Paul leaves, oh, I was going with the third. No, I was going to say he leaves with Jay. Yeah, but no, I think Rollins wins. Maybe, right? If he's going to be more like Roman, if he's going to be more like Roman, he needs a wise man. I am praying to all the gods out there, Rod, that he will be back. We need his wrestling expertise. All right, everyone. Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, net. Yeah. Roger that. Later.